In this video, we'll be talking about the ablative case, specifically the ablative of place. But first, we need to learn a couple new nouns. So this one is ager, a field or a farm. Ager. A forest, silva. Silva. Et litus, a beach. Litus. So, time to use the ablative. We can ask the question, ubi est porcus? Where, ubi, where is the pig? Ubi est porcus? To which we respond, porcus est in agro. Now you might think, didn't you just tell me that field is ager? Well, that's correct, but remember in Latin, the word endings of nouns often change based on how they're used in the sentence. So when I say, it's a field, well, we're going to use the nominative case for that because it's the subject of a sentence. We say ager est. But when we want to say something is in something else, as far as being like in a location, like in a field, we're going to use the ablative here, which is agro. You might also think, well, how do we get from ager to agro? That seems like a bit of a change. Well, remember, when you're given the definition of a word, you get the nominative and the genitive. It's really the genitive you need to look at, and then swap the ending on that. So, agri, agro. And all the second declension nouns tend to follow this pattern. So, should you sit down and memorize this chart? I mean, you can if you want to, but you can also just do more reading, and as you come across nouns, think to yourself, well, are they masculine, feminine, and neuter? Well, which declension are they in? What's case is being used right here? And that'll get you a little review as you do normal reading. Let's do another. Ubi est vaca? So translate in your head, what does that question mean? Ubi est vaca? Where is the cow? Et vaca in silva est. Same thing here. Silva, without a macron over the A, is the nominative form. It's first declension, so the ablative form, you just throw a macron over that A. So instead of silva, long, short, it's silva, long, long. If you're a native English speaker, it might be difficult to really make that come out as a difference because we're used to accent-based words as opposed to syllable length words. So, vaca in silva est. And finally, ubi est saxum? Well, this one might be a bit of a surprise. Saxum in litore est. Now, you might think, how on earth do we get from litus to litore? Well, litus is a third declension noun. So again, we're going to look at that genitive litores, and then that is comes off and the E gets put on at the end. And you'll note here I was a little strategic with the locations. We've got a second declension one in the form of ager. We've got a first declension one in the form of silva, and we've got a third declension one in the field in the form of litus. So that kind of gets you your main patterns here. And of course, there's a fourth and a fifth declension, but they're not used as much. So let's do some review. Quid est? Ager est. And remember, we just have ager. It's in the nominative form because it's the subject of the sentence. Nothing's in the field in this question. We're just saying it's the field. Ubi est porcus? Porcus in litore est. Quid est in silva? Saxum in silva est. Quid est? Litus est. Et ubi est saxum? Saxum in agro est. Ubi est vaca? Vaca in litore est. And now, a little practice with our plurals here. Ubi sunt porcus et vaca. So by way of review, we say porcus est, the pig is, but if we have multiple, porcus et vaca sunt, they are. We've got the plural form there. So est for a singular, sunt for plural. So ubi sunt porcus et vaca. Porcus et vaca in agro sunt. Est ne saxum in agro? And remember, ne makes it a question. So is there a rock in the field? Well, there's not our picture of a rock in the field, so I'm going to say non. Saxum non in agro est. Et ergo saxum triste est. So therefore, the rock is sad. So if you're able to answer all of these review questions, then you're ready for the next video. If not, I'd recommend going through the video one more time, or at least the questions one more time, and that'll really solidify these ablative forms in your head of agro, silva, et litore. And then you'll have kind of in your mind a representative example of the first, second, and third declensions, ablative singular, which will come in useful when you are learning other nouns and wanting to put them in the ablative case.